Well, it's day 2 of practice here at Lake Cumberland. Things are winding down. We got Cory Johnston with us today. And Cory, you are, I would say, I'd call you a smallmouth guy. However, you're also really good at catching largemouth in grass. Now, the one thing you don't have going for you, it's not a lot of grass in here, but there's a lot of largemouths and there's a lot of smallmouth. So I assume you're catching fish.
You know what, I'm getting a few bites here and there. It is a grind. They're definitely not everywhere. And you know, it's just a matter of covering water and getting a little bit lucky. I think it's a lot different from last year. The water's up maybe 5 feet. You can't see the targets as well. A lot of them are submerged, so they're still there. It's just a matter of putting your time in.
We've heard from some guys here, you know, they've been coming off this afternoon, that compared to last year, it is almost like a different lake, because obviously the water is a little higher than it was last year. But also it's got some color to it, and it seems like we're also not as far along as we were last year too. All those are kind of making it basically like a new fishery. It
is, and I think every day it's going to be a new fishery right from now until the 4th day of the tournament. I think guys are going to have to adapt. I wouldn't be shocked if guys catch them off the bed by the 4th day, 3rd, 4th day of the tournament. I mean, the water's already came up 4 degrees just today.
Oh, okay. So, and what are you seeing for water temp?
It started at 50 this morning, and now it's up to 54.5.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
I mean, it's getting warm in the next few days. You know, the sun's going to be beating down on the water, and the water temp's going to raise, and these fish are ready to hit the bank and start spawning. So, guys are definitely going to have to adapt, and I mean, they'll go to a spot, and you know, you're not going to catch them, and they think, oh, the fish are gone. Well, you know, the fish are just moving. They're ready to spawn, and they're doing their thing. So,
in your opinion, is this going to be one of those tournaments where the leaders we talked to on day 1 are going to be some of those guys that are like, man, I'm going to be honest with you, I had a terrible practice, I didn't really catch any fish, but they just kind of got, either they stumbled onto something or it clicked finally on Thursday? I mean, one of those things where that kind of progression, is that what you're talking about? Yeah,
I mean, that could definitely happen, but I think the guys that are on them now are going to carry it through the tournament, and I think they're going to know where their fish are moving to.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be a big key.
Okay. I guess we talked a little bit yesterday about kind of the breakup of fish. Last year there was a huge emphasis on smallmouths, right? This time around, obviously you don't have that restriction, so you don't got to worry about that. How do you think we'll see the species break down this year? Is there going to still be a big emphasis on smallmouths, or are some of the largemouths and spots going to play a little more?
I think the largemouth are going to play a little bit more. The water stained, and from what I've learned about smallmouth where I live, I don't know about these ones, but when you get stained water, they can't see the bait and they don't track it as far. And I think last year when the fish were suspended in the trees, they were coming up to chase a bait a lot further, and I think now you got to get your bait a lot closer to the fish for them to eat it.
Okay, okay, so, makes sense.
I think that's going to play, but definitely the largemouth will be a big factor, I think.
All right, well, before I let you go, maybe give the folks watching a couple of fancy fishing picks. Who would you put on your squad this week?
Oh man, that's a tough call.
And you can put yourself on there.
I'm not going to put myself, and I'm definitely not going to put my brother on there after the phone calls I was getting today from him. But you know, I'm going to say Clark Winlet for sure. I think
that's a good call.
And judging by a few of Dudley's pictures yesterday, I'm going to say Dudley for sure.
I think you can't go wrong there. What about a sleeper one? You got anyone maybe people aren't too familiar with that you think this could be their derby?
That's a tough call. I mean, Jared McMillan's been catching them all year, so it wouldn't shock me if he caught them again. Right,
right. I like it. I think I will let that classify as a sleeper pick, even though he is leading the Angler of the Year race. We won't worry about
it. All right.
Well, with that, man, I'll let you get rolling. Grab some dinner. Thanks for joining us. All right, practice is winding down here on Lake Cumberland. Stop number 4, which is presented by General Tire. We got Ramie Colson Jr. with us. Ramie, first thing I got to ask you, okay? It's sunny out. It was a little warmer today, and I bet there were some turkeys gobbling out there. Did you hear any?
Did hear one.
One, okay.
Just one.
Okay.
Which, anytime you hear a turkey, it's good anyway.
For sure. I'm 100% with you on that.
Yep.
I chased around a lot of hearsay on gobbles last year, so my plan is to hear some this year. I can't wait. I'm fired up. But there's also a bass fishing tournament going on.
That is true.
That we got happening out here.
That is true.
And I feel like a man such as yourself, could be kind of dialed in. I feel like this lake right now maybe sets up for you.
The water is beautiful color.
Isn't it?
It's off color, just like I would love to have it. It's a lot higher than it was last year. The temperatures are good, but the bites are so far and few between. That's the problem, I don't know if it's just called, of course, winter just won't let go, I mean, 2 days ago we had snow on the ground here, and at home too. But, and of course they're pulling this water quite a bit each day. And I don't think that's helping the bite a lot at all. But I do like the off-colored water. Had a decent day yesterday practice-wise. I mean, I was really tickled with it. So today, not so much, I got probably the same amount of bites, but they were just a lot smaller.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's got me. I got one more day to try to, figure it out.
On the note of the waterfall, I looked online earlier today, and it looks like right now we're still a few feet above full pool. Compared to last year, it's about 12 feet higher than it was this time. But there is a decline. Now it's in the couple of days that it's been falling, it doesn't look that big, but I mean, there's a noticeable difference, you can tell.
Oh yeah, you can see it on the water's edge, when you're going around these banks, each day you just keep watching the water line, on the trees and what have you, keep falling, and that's not real good when they pull it like that, especially in the spring of the year. I mean, anytime really, but in spring of the year, they're wanting to go up, but they're not real. I don't think they're real secure. But this lake is deep, and I wouldn't have thought that it would have made a big difference.
I
figured they would, still, of course, you're sitting from here to the truck, 20 foot of water, you wouldn't figure, but it does. It's not easy to figure out, not like it would be at home, where, you can go shallow and them last little old spots where they, set up, before. Here versus last year, you could see those little spots where they set up at, where I caught them at. Now, not so much, because you just, it's just same looking bank,
Sure.
So, I mean, you're just having to refigure it all over again here. Even though I live in Kentucky and, this is fairly close to home, with the water as high as it is, you still got to refigure it every day,
Sure. Last year we saw a large majority of the top 10 fishing on the lower end of Cumberland. Right now we're kind of mid-lake here. Do you think we will see this time around this part of the lake and even up towards Takeoff, the more river part of Cumberland play?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I still think that it's going to be, from mid-lake down. I really do.
That's just kind of where good fish live, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's just pretty plain and simple, in past history and, and the way people talk, beforehand, that, it's just from here down, Now, if you was, on up, another month or so away,
okay,
I think it would play more, or would play a big part, back towards Takeoff, but not, I don't think it will this time either. What
about in terms of species? Do you think we'll see maybe spotted bass and largemouth play a little more this time than they did last year?
The
smallmouth still kind of the thing?
Well, the largemouth have been far and few between. It's been more spots than smallmouth.
Okay.
I mean, you occasionally catch a largemouth, which I thought I could catch more of in this tournament, but I'll take what I can get, but it seems to be the spots in the smallmouth.
Well, you got 1 day of practice left. In your mind, what are you going to try to accomplish tomorrow, especially knowing that conditions are going to keep changing by the time the tournament starts?
That's the thing about it. The temperatures right now the way they are, and tomorrow being maybe 53, and then Thursday and Friday 78 to 80,
Right.
So the largemouth could play a part at that time. It's just like last year. It kind of happened this similar way last year because it was cool. And you just kind of put it together each day as the tournament went on, and them fish just kept moving back, and more largemouth came up. So who knows? I mean, I've got to go look at some more areas tomorrow, try to build upon what I did yesterday, not so much as what I did today, but hopefully. And you got to keep in mind when this water temperature warms up, as you're catching fish or getting bites tomorrow, that, okay, these fish can only go from, here to there or whatever. No, they can't go too much further. So, you may have to kind of put it together a little bit the first day of the tournament and work your way through the week end, hopefully.
Hopefully. The final thing I want to ask you is, for the folks watching, being that you are from Kentucky, maybe get a little insight on some guys, the fantasy fishing players of the world, maybe want to have on their squad. Maybe you got a little, you know, some names we don't know too much of.
Well, right now, the sad part about it is the people that I've talked to in the tournament are kind of in the same boat. They're not, you know, they're catching some fish, but they're not catching no good ones, you know. This is one of them deals that's just a toss-up.
So just put Andy Morgan and Brian Thrift on your team.
Go ahead and put Andy and Brian in there. Of course, Andy, you know, rooming with him, you know, he didn't do no good, but he did have 10 or 15 bites yesterday, you know, had one big smallmouth. Of course, you know, you keep talking to him and, you know, you get a little out, but but he's like I am. I mean, he's catching a lot of fish, but no size, you know. So,
all right.
As far as the fantasy fishing goes, I think this is a toss-up, but Andy and Brian Thrift would probably be a good bet.
There you go. Play your strengths. Thanks for joining us, Ramie.
Thank you.
Good luck, man.